Good morning to you all. Welcome back to the Namaste experience. That feels good just to say that, doesn't it? The Namaste experience. We all know what the word Namaste means. In different contexts, we could say the light in me honors the light in you, or the Christ in me, the Buddha in me honors the light or the Christ or the Buddha in you. In other words, we are the same. We are honoring the truth, the reality, the love within each other. And to experience that, not just to say the words, but to come into a direct and whole experience of that. That's the key, a whole experience. Now, ultimately, there's no such thing as a partial experience. The partial experience is what the ego claims. Well, I'll just let in a little bit of this, but by trying to limit that which has no limit, we have only blocked the experience of that, of seeing the light, the truth, the reality, the Christ in each other. When we are wholehearted, full endeavor, when we are completely whole in that desire, that offering, that awakening, that lifting, it automatically flows in. It's automatic. This is not something you have to work for. Awakening is not something you need to do. It's something that you simply allow. And you allow it by getting the heck out of the way. That's all. Just getting out of the way, getting you, the you that you've claimed, the you that you believe in, the identity out of the way. So it's like a huge boulder in front of a stream. Once that boulder, of course, the water is going around that boulder, but you can't experience that until you get the boulder out of the way. And once the boulder is removed or dissolved, annihilated, whatever word you want to use, that water flows freely. It fills you automatically. You realize who you are, the reality that is forever real. So that being said, let us begin with our prayer for the awakened today. We're going to use the Course in Miracles based one because this is a great way for it to be really fully opened within us. So begin with the morning affirmation. The peace of God is everything I want. The peace of God is my one goal, the aim of all my living here, the end I seek, my purpose, and my function in this life, while I abide where I am not at home. And I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent the one who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because the one who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever God wishes, knowing God goes there with me. I will be healed as I let God teach me to heal. So some of you may notice, probably Amrit, because she does this every day, that I change the words ever so slightly in that second prayer, just to open it up instead of him who sent me, the one who sent me. It just feels better to me to recognize that one rather than to wrestle with pronouns. There's no need for us to wrestle anymore, only to surrender. So today I want to talk about a conversation that happened between my brother and my sister and I, all through texting a couple of nights ago. And this is a conversation in regard to an experience that my sister was having on a particular chat board. Now, I'll say that my brother and my sister are still very Catholic, and so they see everything through a Catholic lens, okay, which is fine. It doesn't matter what lens you choose to see it through, just see it. See it meaning see only love, right? Don't judge, see only love. Well, what happened was my sister was watching some video about someone who was going on and on about the Catholic tradition of honoring the Blessed Mother, Mary, the mother of Jesus. And this person, the so-called authority or teacher, was saying that this was idolatry and that Catholics are sinful for doing this. And this got my sister and my younger brother going. And they asked me my opinion. And I knew that I couldn't answer in quite the same way that I would answer you if any of you came to me and asked that question. Because, and what we're going to see today is that there are different levels of understanding, of the ability to see, to hear, to understand. So what I wanted to do was to answer them on the level upon which they were resting, okay? To give them a Catholic answer, but one that felt right to me. So my answer was that uh, when we honor Mary, the mother of Jesus, we're not worshiping. That was the issue with the person online, that you're worshiping Mary. No, you're not worshiping Mary. We're using Mary as a lens once again. We're looking through Mary, through the grace that she lived and exhibited, and we're looking through it to the Christ. So we're using her as a kind of intermediary. This was my answer. And they liked that answer. And apparently my sister took my answer and posted it on this message board, which got a lot of reaction from the others who were pretty convinced that any attention given to anyone other than the holy, only perfect Son of God, Jesus Christ. Once again, Christ being the last name of Jesus, right? That's the idea. That this is the only one. This is the only expression of divinity. That to give your attention to any other possibility is idolatry. And I thought a lot about this that evening. In fact, what often happens to me is I'll be getting ready to go to sleep and I'll be lying there in my bed. And I don't know when this started. It is many, many years ago. It's like I'm teaching in my mind as I fall asleep. I'm doing exactly what I'm doing right now. They're starting to just sort of wind up and flow through my mind. And I felt this whole teaching coming to me. So I have to get up right away and at least take a few notes so that I can come back to it the next morning. Otherwise, it's gone. And what I realize, and this is a very high metaphysical understanding, and I'm going to see if I can express it properly. And then I'm going to briefly read something that I wrote that night. So there are different levels, like the floors of a building, in our ascension into the complete dissolve into grace, which is the only real possibility and goal. Okay. Ultimately, we are here only to dissolve into grace. Now, there are different levels upon some of these are very gross, meaning very thick and dense. Other levels are less, they get less dense and more open and more free the higher they go. So, a fundamentalist approach in any faith or religious tradition we're going to say is the lowest ground level. Okay. The ground level, it's on the ground. And in the fundamentalist level of any tradition is filled with dogma and rules and ideas, and you have to do this and you have to do that. And if you're not doing this, then you're something else. It's just jam-packed. That certainly was my experience. Maybe it was your experience as well when you were maybe growing up in more of a Catholic or Protestant or Jewish traditional approach. How many of you had an experience similar to that? Okay. Yeah. And so on that ground level, it's just jam-packed with do this, don't do that. All right. Now, the higher you go, the more open it becomes. Say on that next level, it's like we begin to consider the possibility that there is a different vibratory response to everything, a different vibratory possibility of faith, of understanding. And in other words, it just begins to loosen and relax. This might be going from a more traditional practice into, say, unity. Like unity would be a good example of a Christian tradition, but what they call new thought, which is there's a new way of looking at this. There's a more open, accepting, loving. See, it's and that fundamentalist, it's not about love at all. It's about what? Right and wrong. There's a right way of doing this. There's a wrong way of doing this. So what was happening with my sister and my brother was that what you're doing is wrong. Giving any attention to Mary, like having a statue, praying the rosary, whatever it might be, is wrong because blah blah blah. And then, of course, it's very, apparent and obvious to someone on that level. But when you get to the level where it's more open, now let's go to the next level above that. Because as I said, every level as we ascend this almost like a pyramid, go into the different floors, it opens a bit wider, becomes more free, becomes more expansive until finally we're at the very tip, the very top of this pyramid or the very highest floor. And none of those ideas and concepts that may have made sense to us when we were in that fundamentalist floor, or maybe even a couple of floors above that, even say those of the floor of when we enter a unity church. I remember in my own life, I had just graduated from a Jesuit university. I had a couple of years earlier been a Franciscan. And so I was very Catholic still, in other words. And when I don't know if I probably have told this one part of the story, but when I first met Linda, my wife, uh, she was going to Unity. So, well, what is Unity? She told me about Unity. I said, that sounds interesting. So I went to my first Unity service there in Chicago. Mike Matoin, you guys know Mike Matoin? Yeah, I mean he was a minister. This guy, woo, he was funny. He was vibrant. He opened me up. Suddenly, I was on a different level. The other thing that happened was Linda had a big box of books that her mom had just given her, and at the very top of that pile, there was a big, thick blue book. Guess what book that was? Course in Miracles. And I picked it up and I said, "What is this?" She said, "Well, I don't know, but my mom told me that if she was on a desert island and could only have one book, this would be it." I thought, okay. So I opened it up to read a paragraph or two. And I had the experience that many of you probably had, because I hear this all the time. I read a couple paragraphs and said, "Nope." I'm not ready for this. I don't know what this is, but I'm not ready for it. There was no negative reaction. It was just like, this is on a whole nother level, right? And it took me a number of years, but unity was definitely going, it's like taking an elevator to the next floor where there are fewer people and they're happier. You ever notice that? Like the people down on that fundamentalist floor, they ain't so happy. When you really come down to it, there, because when we're always in judgment, which is what that ground floor is all about, I'm right, you're wrong, you got to do it this way, not that way. You're not happy. When you say first go into unity, which was my experience going to the Unity Church in Chicago, it's like these people are happy. It's definitely more expansive. And then after that, my next big experience was when I really did get into A Course in Miracles. I went to Endeavor Academy. It was like a whole new level of expansiveness. Whoa, just opened up. And each new level until finally, once again, that pinnacle where there are no rules. Okay, rules don't apply in the same way. Okay, so I'm getting off track, but the book that I have coming out that I'm going to start talking about, and I have talked about in the past, The Annihilated Self, okay, is all about this amazing mystic, Marguerite, who lived in the 14th century. In 1310, she was burned at the stake because she, having undergone this experience of grace, had realized that there are, when you're at that pinnacle of open grace, the top of the pyramid, when you're there, it's not there are rules. You just automatically follow the way of grace. Does that make sense? The way of grace is the only way there is. You don't need to be told what to do. You simply find yourself there. There are no dogmas. You simply are following love in every moment. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'm not going to end up leaving much time for my dear sisters here, but I'll do what I can. Let me just read this really quick, and then I'm going to turn it over to our dear sisters, and we'll do our chant at the end. If we go a little bit over time, that's all right. So let me read this. This is what I wrote that night. I'm going to take these off. You know you're getting old when. All right. The assumed truths on one floor dissolve or shift as you climb to each higher floor. Okay. While the lower floors of the spiritual ladder are crowded with dogma and beliefs, each ascending floor requires a letting go of those assumed truths until reaching the highest floor where there are no beliefs at all, separating us from the one-on-one direct experience of God or love. That's the experience. As we ascend, each floor grows quieter, emptier, yet more luminous. The familiar shapes that once gave comfort, our ideas about heaven, holiness, and even of self, begin to blur. I love this. They blur like mist before the rising sun. Isn't that interesting how the fog, when the sun rises, it dissolves on its own? Same thing happens with our beliefs. What once felt solid now feels transparent, revealed as scaffolding, meant only to lift us higher before finally vanishing. At last, when every form has melted into light, we realize that nothing was lost. What dissolves is illusion. What remains is the radiant presence of God, seen not through doctrine or symbol, but as the living essence of our own being. The living essence of our own being. That sounds good. How many of you want that? The living, yeah, good. The living essence of my being, one with God, one with love, reality itself. So, Vicky, I'll let you take it from there, and then we'll bring Penny Honey on, and then we'll close with our chant, which is all about lifting it even higher. Good morning, dear one.
Good morning, Brother James. Good morning, everybody. So nice to see you. And I love the whole description of rising up and everything as we rise up, everything falls away. And the marking, the delineation point for that after, I suppose unity has it as well. But the next level in experience for me has been simply what is true and what is false, what is true and what is false. And whether or not you think of it as a doctrine or as a symbol of an idol, it's all about trusting what is true and the willingness to just let what isn't true, let it go. Don't fight it, don't resist it, don't do anything with it. Just live in what is true. And as we do that, there's a natural ascension, a natural opening, or a natural rising, maybe, where all of the concerns of what to do or what to say aren't important anymore, because what's important is staying in what you call the way of grace. And we are living in that. Many, most of us, all of us, I'm hoping, and maybe not all of the time, but a lot of the time. And hopefully all of the time very soon. But that would be that delineation point, I would say. That's what I would add to that little topic. Thank you, Brother James.
And you know, something else I'll add, because Vicky, you and I are wonderful examples of this. When you have been lifted into those higher levels, those higher floors where it's much more expansive, you have the ability to easily interact on those more fundamentalist floors. This is how I operated as a priest. All I taught was love. In my sermons at a Anglican or an Episcopal church, all I taught was really A Course in Miracles. I just didn't use the words. I didn't say this is from A Course in Miracles, right? But I was teaching that, only that. And so if you have gone up to those levels, you can easily bring grace with you back to those lower levels. However, you can't lift from one level to the higher level until you let go of the weight, the rocks. Imagine having a big backpack filled with rocks. That's why they call it a rucksack in Europe. You got to get rid of those rocks. You got to get rid of them one by one so that you can lift. So I thought that was, you know, Vicky and I still honor our Catholic tradition. We go to Mass all the time. And we can do that and translate it right in our mind back into love. So Penny, honey, why don't you come on and take it from there?
Well, I think that's because it's only love. My interpretation of that little spot in the Bible where it talks about don't speak in tongues if people can't understand it. It doesn't serve a purpose. It's about meeting each other where we are. It's about beholding the divinity and knowing and seeing that already in whatever that teaching or dogma or dictate or whatever that might be. Seeing the God in it and knowing it too is lifting to its next expression. I find myself being much more patient with myself when I remember I'm a work in progress. Some days more progress than others. Tools, not rules. That's a term I use in my life. And I love that idea of, as we learn, moving to a place of no rules. Man, I can get into that. I can feel really comfortable right there, because there is a built-in knowing that I am one with the mind of God in that. And therefore, I can only be the expression of that. I like remembering that. This is a really great place to go in conversation, isn't it? Because I know that there are places and teachings and spots in my life that I've moved through. They were pretty heavy and they were pretty low floors. But they are serving now as a foundation. And as I lift into these next levels, I ascend into these next levels of consciousness. This is where I get to embrace the concept that it's all good. It came to serve me. It came to serve the world. And I embrace it. And if that is a symbol of the Virgin Mother, that brings me back to remembering that and the teaching and the connection that that gave me, I say, put it on your mantle. If it brings you peace and it does no harm, there, my friends, there we can rest. Thank you. Namaste.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Vicky. And you know, If you want to have one mantra today that you use to lift you into this consciousness, you actually said it. And the mantra is, it's all good. I love being in cultures like in Australia, for example, when that's a very common phrase. It's all good, mate. You know, no worries, mate. No worries. It's all good. Just relax into grace. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring our chant back up. Those of you who learned it already will be able to fall right into it. And I'm going to put this on the screen and you'll see that these words work perfectly with what we shared today. So put this up on the screen and I'll invite you, everyone here at Namaste, I'm going to invite you to stand and feel. Don't just sing. Let your voice lift you into the actual experience. Oh, hold on. I forgot to hit the most important button, which is the musician button. Where did it go? Oh, I got to stop all right, let me do this. Okay, got that on. Now I can. Okay, so once again, let's really enter into the experience of this, not just the words, okay? Once again, it's call and response, so except for the last part. So you'll sing each part after me. I am rising, 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 I am rising in love, in love. I am lifting, I am lifting, I am lifting, I am lifting high above. Together, this world and everything I made, for in this love alone I am saved. I am rising, I am rising, I am rising in love. I am lifting, I am lifting, I am lifting high above this world and everything I made. For in this love alone I am saved. See if you can move your body, dance a little bit, lift your hands in the air, whatever you need to do. Let this flow through you. Here we go. I am rising, I am rising, I am rising in love. I am lifting, I am lifting, I am lifting high above this world and everything I made. For in this love alone I am saved. This last time, very quietly. I am rising, I am rising, I am rising in love. I am lifting, I am lifting, I am lifting high above this world and everything I made. For in this love alone I am saved. I am saved. Just that one line now. I am saved. I am saved. I am rising, I am lifting, only in love. And to that we say, Amen, 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 y punto. And so it is. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll see you all next week.
If anyone wants to stick around,
Thank you. Yes. Hold on one second.